To explain why Google, Amazon, Facebook, and other media tech companies have taken over the internet, we have to talk about the economy in general. It's easy to simply say it's the bad behavior of companies that have led to social media problem. It's also tempting to blame individual actors for the craziness today. What is happening has to do with the rules that underlie the economy. It's very common to blame social behavior on moral shortcomings. They are just bad people. When innate notions are used to explain bad behavior, the real causes are obscured. So, essentialism is the belief that categories of people have intrinsically different and characteristic natures or dispositions. Essentialist accusations are just excuses for cultural beliefs. This kind of thinking is part of the problem why things don't improve. Let's look deeper. Underlying the economy is the human condition. The very reason for focusing on the economy is to improve that condition. Poverty is the thing, see? There are two types of poverty, social and biological. Social poverty is relative. Being poor is a matter of comparison with others. Biological poverty, on the other hand, is when the most basic survival needs are not being met. Not enough food, not enough shelter, and so on. Biological poverty is crippling, and today, fortunately, it's becoming rare. It only occurs on the fringes and during times of war. Let's look at social poverty. Declining prosperity is the key. People in poor societies develop coping skills, and their income isn't so tied to self-esteem. People who lose wealth often feel a loss of dignity, and when accompanied with a lack of coping skills, they create emotional hardship. Loss of economic security provokes social problems beyond economic ones. Higher rates of violence, racism, and so on. While poverty has been decreasing worldwide, it is a different story in the US. Poverty has not improved, but what's even more consequential is that the middle class has declined. It is this loss of economic security that most contributes to the current cultural malaise we see in our society, the rising tensions, the ethnic divisions, the growth in hate groups, the increasing violence, suicides and mass killings in particular. Wages in America have stagnated now for 40 years. Wealth has decreased for everyone except the top 10%. Let's look at men with lower levels of education. Real wages have gone down significantly. The geography of loss is clear as well. This decade, like the ones before, have not been kind to rural America. Here's what to think about. The group of people that have seen the greatest decline of economic security are, in fact, the most in crisis. Globalization and automation are often to blame, and they do play a role, to be sure, but I want to show you something else as well. The change in the economy has many causes. The reason for this deterioration comes down to the fact that the rules of the economic game were purposefully changed in ways that advantage the rich and disadvantage most everyone else. This happened in many places throughout the world, including here in the United States. It's important to resist the moralizing and the rhetoric based on identity. If we want to improve our society, we need to focus on the rules. Return them to a more balanced system that does not benefit the economically privileged at the expense of everyone else. It's that simple and it's that hard. What I'm talking about, this rule change, can be summed up by one word: neoliberalism, a set of ideas that came out of the 70s, ruling ideas that include unfettered freedom of the market, deregulation, and privatization. These ideas are premised on a very good thing, individual liberty. Who can argue with that? but they end up leading to something quite different. What has happened since the neoliberal revolution? One, the financialization of the economy. Rather than the production of goods, wealth now accumulates more and more through the financial system. Two, growing debt across the board. People burdened by debt cannot challenge the inequities of the system. A college grad with heavy student loans, a family with mountain credit card debt, a country with spiraling federal debt is shackled to debt payments that drain economic well being. That debt acts as a massive transfer of wealth. Think about who in the end benefits from a system that is more and more based on debt. Three, these new rules dismantle the collective institutions of the working classes and cut the social safety net. Four, the unchecked power of corporations has led to a consolidation of many industries and bigger players, even a return to monopoly power. Notice the breaking point in these charts is always the same. Everything turns in the late 70s. Freedom of the market produces greater and greater levels of inequality. In turn, that inequality manifests as social problems. Growing social problems in turn justify an assault on civil liberties. Look at the radical expansion of the prison system, the growing war industry, and the militarization of the police. These are all examples. The growing power of the state is then utilized by the wealthy and the powerful to consolidate their status further. Democracy declines and authoritarianism rises. Voting rights are stifled. Corporate corruption is made legal, as in the case of Citizens United, that now allows dark money to infiltrate politics. How did this happen? Simply put, the owner class organized to make it so. People like Milton Friedman created the philosophical and economic blueprint, the new set of rules, and the powerful created an infrastructure to make them the governing rules. The Manhattan Institute, the Heritage Foundation, the Business Roundtable, the Chamber of Commerce, and many other institutions were set up and enhanced for this project. This worked for a while, but over time, the neoliberal system failures were becoming more apparent, and in order to shift the blame, the powerful augmented their efforts with an added strategy. The critics of neoliberalism were sidelined by a national conversation about culture that has become more and more divisive. Two populist movements arose, one from the left targeted neoliberalism, things like Occupy Wall Street, and one on the right focused on the cultural divisions. PC culture, the undocumented were all targeted. The cultural populists on the right took control of the institutions of power in our society. A member of the powerful became president under the banner of this populism. His policies have, however, continued to privilege the powerful, augmenting the neoliberal project. That is where we stand today. Social media has become a battleground, but it is a battleground fought under the umbrella of mega corporations who wish to protect their own interests. Facebook has replaced the public square as Amazon corners the marketplace, while Apple sells us the means to participate in them. All the while, the powerhouses of old, the banks, the fossil fuel companies, the insurance industry, have become freer to do their thing, which is becoming less and less our thing. Thanks for listening.